Alright, yeah, and welcome back to some more Gwent. This week we're going to be taking a look at a Scoia'tael Dwarves deck. So I'm going to get onto the deck tech, and I'll also leave a little note in the bottom right hand corner, which is a timestamp for if you just want to go see the matches. Anyway guys, let's get on to the deck tech, shall we? See you there. Okay, we are back. So, this is a fairly odd kind of built together kind of deck based off what I have in my collection at the moment. There are a fair few improvements to be made to this deck, and if you have the cards to do so, then it's probably a good idea to do it. For example, maybe you want to change your leader from Francesca to, there is a dwarf, I can't remember his name now, but he allows you to play a silver card from your deck, and you could maybe rebuild the deck around that, because you've got Scoia'tael here, who adds 1 strength to all of your other dwarf units wherever they are. So you could grab him from your deck and play him, which will boost every single one of your dwarves. You could get a decoy as well. It's a bit expensive for me at the moment, so I can't quite get a decoy. But that would allow you to then bring back Scoia'tael and then play him again to give all of your dwarves +2. So there's a few changes that can be made, but with the cards that I have available, this is what I've gone with. So the basic strategy of the deck is to make big dwarves and keep them there. So we're going for the long game, essentially. We've got Mahakam Defenders. They are the cornerstone of this deck. They are 4 strength dwarves, and you get to keep them on the battlefield at the end of each round. So every single round, they get to stick around. Kind of like the Monsters faction ability, where one of them gets to stay. All of the Mahakam Defenders stay on the battlefield throughout each round. So what we want to do, essentially, is pump these guys up quite large and then maintain them for as long as possible. So we have plenty of pump and we have plenty of protection spells as well to make sure that these guys stick around. Pump in the form of Mahakam Guards. These are other dwarves. Immune to Frost, which is really good for weather decks. And you get to add 3 strength to a non-gold unit on your side of the battlefield. And if it's a dwarf, then you add 5 strength instead. So essentially, every single unit in our deck is a dwarf. Except for the prize-winning cow, Olgierd, and Regis. But we'll get to them in a second. There's a reason why they're in here. So, essentially, what you want to do is add the strength to the Mahakam Defenders. You get to add 5 because they are all dwarves. So, you add the strength, and that strength carries over to the future rounds as well. And what's really good with the Scoia'tael ability as well, the faction ability I should get to, is that you get to choose who starts the round once per game. So, what we can do is we can storm ahead with our Mahakam Defenders, take the first round, and then force our opponent to go first on the second round, even though we won, that kind of thing. So not only do we have the superior board state then, but we also put our opponent in a state of card disadvantage if they choose to pass and try to win on future rounds. And not to mention that our Mahakam Defenders stick around as well, so they're not exactly resetting the board when they pass to throw the round, essentially. So it's really good. You do have to keep them safe, though. It can be quite difficult sometimes, depending on the matchup, but it's what we're going for. It wins fairly consistently, so it does its job. So, moving on, we've got Prize-Winning Cow. We've seen this a few times in past decks. Prize-Winning Cow is a 1 strength cow, silver card, and when it's removed from the battlefield, you get to spawn a chort on the round where it was. So, essentially, we put this guy down on round 1 or round 2, and like the rest of our cards, it's got a little bit of durability in the fact that the next round that it appears, we get 9 strength. So we can really build up our board the longer we go. So it's yet again playing into our strategy. We then have Olgierd. Just got him today, actually. Olgierd is a 6 strength melee unit. And at the start of each round, you resurrect Olgierd and he loses 2 base strength. So the first round he has 6 strength. The second round he comes back, he has 4. The third round he has 2. So we're constantly getting him back. And we can pump him up if we want to. We don't have any base strength increases, which is what's really good with Olgierd. But still having him come down on the second round, for example, with 6 strength and 4 on the third, can be a nice game swing there as well. Then we have Regis, the higher vampire. So yet again, plays into our strategy. The first round he comes down, he is 6 strength and he's gold, which means that you can't touch him. We have a lot of cards in the first round where we might as well play them because they usually come back a little bit stronger than before. So we can force extra cards out of our opponent's hand and get that kind of advantage. And we don't really lose card disadvantage because a lot of our cards end up coming back or sticking around. So when Regis gets removed from the battlefield, then he becomes the 8 strength higher vampire here that you see. He's a silver card and he can be targeted and immune and then vulnerable to weather. But still, that's usually not too bad for us. We have we have clear skies and stuff like that to get rid of those issues. Moving on, we then have Dwarven Mercenary. It's another dwarf. You get to gain 2 strength for each dwarf unit on your side of the battlefield. So yet again, we're keeping this durability around. We're keeping a lot of dwarves on the battlefield. So hopefully when the Dwarven Mercenary comes down, he's going to be nice and big for every single dwarf unit that's on the battlefield. You may notice that this one does not stick around. We do have adrenaline rushes, so if we do get this Dwarven Mercenary up to a large amount, you know, just 9 strength or something like that, it's nothing to laugh at, then we actually get to use adrenaline rushes. Excuse me a second. Sorry about that, guys. Those Facebook messages were mine. I've just had to close Facebook. I assume you heard it because I think my recording software picks it up. Anyway, where was I? Adrenaline rushes. So adrenaline rushes allow us to keep a non-gold unit on the battlefield at the end of each round. So it's essentially, adrenaline rush has got the ability that the Mahakam defenders have. So if we do end up making one of our creatures really big because we don't have the defenders on the battlefield, then we have adrenaline rush as a backup plan so that we can invest in the other dwarves that do not stick around. And maybe some of the other cards like Olgierd, perhaps. We might want him to not lose his strength, so we keep him around with adrenaline rush, that kind of thing. So we've got that kind of durability there as well. Then we have Dwarven Skirmishers. These are our removal / extra pump utility cards. So they get to remove 3 strength from an opposing non-gold unit. So if they're really good, then we can get rid of them. Otherwise, we can use it to buff up our dwarf to get extra strength on the board and maybe just go straight over our opponent's heads. And yet again, we can adrenaline rush these if we want to keep them round. So we remove 3 strength and gain 2 if the unit is not killed. So it depends on how we want to play around. We've kind of spoken about Scoia'tael. It adds 1 strength to all of your other dwarf units wherever they are. So you want to play this guy whenever you want, really. The sooner the better, because even if he dies, he's already done his job. He gets to make all of these 5s on their base strength and stuff like that. Even if they're in the deck or in your hand or on the battlefield, they'll get this buff as well. So really, as long as he gets played and he doesn't get banished in the playing of him, then you're all good. As I mentioned as well, you want ways to flicker this guy in and out of the battlefield if you can help it as well. We then have Commander's Horn. So this is a pretty decent card for just finishing off the game right there and then. It is a special card, doubles the strength of all non-gold units on a row on your side, and then it gets banished. So what we get to do essentially is double the strength of whatever our Mahakam defenders are. So what we've essentially done is we've been pumping these guys up in the first and second rounds. We've been giving them Thunderbolt potions and stuff like that, maybe Quen signing them to make sure that they're safe. And then we'll double all of that massive amount of strength with the Commander's Horn. And all of that strength that we've gained from there, these guys could be like 25s strength units at that point. We'll have them all really massive, and this will carry over into future rounds. So we can kind of afford to go all in on the first round and have major card disadvantage just because the sheer amount of our cards that stick around really makes up for the fact that our opponent might have more cards than us. We then have First Light. So First Light is a pretty decent card. It has 2 effects. So for the first effect, you get to remove all weather effects and reset all weakened non-immune units on the affected row to their base strength. So if we're playing against weather and they've put frost on our front row, putting these Mahakam defenders down to 1, then we clear skies, get them right back to where they were, and problems solved. So we've got some weather tech here. If we're not playing against weather, then it is not a dead card for us because the other effect is the Rally, and that allows us to play a random bronze unit from your deck. Most of our cards are bronze. It's only units as well, so you can disregard all of these on this row here. But if we are missing Mahakam defenders, then maybe we want to go try grab one. It's a bit hit or miss if you're trying to do that, because we do have a lot of bronze units. All of these are bronze here, as you can see. So there's only 4 units in our deck that are not bronze. But if we've been going through our deck quite a lot and we're maybe in the final rounds, it's a little bit more predictable, and then we'll know kind of what we're going up against. So you want to hold on to these for as long as possible, because the longer you hold on to them, the more you can really predict what might come from them, which is pretty sweet. We then have Thunderbolt Potions, only 2 copies of these, because we don't have too many units that we want to affect. These are a lot better the more units you have, so if you have the poor inventory or you're doing a breedable deck, they're a lot better in that kind of strategy, because you get to add 4 strength to all instances of a non-gold unit on its side, and if it's a Witcher you add 6 strength, so that's irrelevant. But we get to add 4 strength to all of our Mahakam defenders, and all of that carries over to the future round. So we've got 2 copies of them. Don't want to go 3 copies, because having one of these in your hand and not many units to stick them on is a bit of a banner, and you don't want that. We then have Quensign. We kind of touched upon this. You get to give all instances of a non-gold unit on your side a shield. The shield protects its bearer from 1 strength removing effect. So if our opponent wants to try lacerate our front row, then our Mahakam defenders have a Quensign on them, then they get to remove that kind of effect. There's a lot of stuff like that. If you have the mutagen as well, that removes strength, then you get to prevent that damage. So we have a little bit of protection in that sense as well, which is pretty good. Finally, we've got lacerates. Lacerates are absolutely awesome against breedable decks and stuff that goes quite wide. You get to remove 3 strength from all non-gold units on a row. So if your opponent's going all in on one specific row, then the more that they do that, the better that lacerate is. So you want to hold on to this for as long as possible. Not too long, so that they could maybe Commander's Horn and get out of range, because you'd rather have the units off the battlefield at that point, but Wild Hunt Riders, Foglets, that kind of thing, all get removed with lacerate, so you really want to choose when you use lacerate quite wisely, because you want to be able to get as much value out of it, but not wait so long as to give your opponent the opportunity to get them out of range of a lacerate and probably double their strength and stuff like that. Anyway, guys, before I go, our faction ability. Our faction ability is the Francesca. She gets to redraw up to 3 cards. So right at the very beginning of the game, when you're selecting what hand you want, all of those effects where we put a card to the bottom of our deck and redraw another one, that's what we get to do 3 times whenever we want. So in the final rounds, this is really good, because if we draw a crappy card in the final round, then we get to redraw it up to 3 times. So we're essentially drawing 4 cards and getting to keep 1, that kind of thing. But there is a little bit of an unknown factor in that we have to throw away the previous card and hope that the new one's better, that kind of thing. So it can be a bit hit or miss, but for the most part, this is a really valuable ability. And if we're missing some of our cards, maybe we want a little bit of removal from our Dwarven skirmishers, maybe we want to keep a strong creature around, then we might want to start redrawing our hand, because if we've got no units on the battlefield, Commander's Horn is useless. So if that's our final card, for example, we don't want that in our hand. So we get to merge and form our deck, our hand, into whatever we want it to be and make it super awesome. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for the deck tech. I'll see you in the matches. See you in a bit.
You shall die, worm.
Scoia'tael.
Alright, we are in. So we're against monsters, which means that it could potentially be weather-based. So we really want to keep this first light. Perhaps we want to redraw to go find another one. We do have a lot of cards that are going to stick around as well, like Olgierd and Regis are going to do a lot of work. And we do have a Mahakam Defender as well. I think I'm going to throw back one of these Adrenaline Rushes, just because we do have a fair amount of cards that are going to stick around anyway. So it's not too important to us. And maybe we want to throw a Dwarven Mercenary down as well, just to try find another Clear Skies. Ooh, Barclay Elves. Ooh. Is there any other card that we want to get rid of? Because I want to keep him around. If I throw that Commander's Horn, we're never going to see it again. And I kind of like the idea of doubling up I think we're going to go with this, though. We're always going to ignore the first round because there is a 50-50 chance that our opponent goes first anyway. And it looks like it paid off for us. So yeah, with the Scoia'tael ability, we get to choose who goes first on a particular round every single game. So you never want to do it on the first round because there's always a 50-50 chance of your opponent going first anyway. So you might as well save it for a future round where you know that you might go first. So if we win this round, for example, then we go first and we want to force our opponent to do it instead. So we got our faction ability to help us do that. So we're going to go with Regis. It is a gold relentless card. He's going to stick around and he's going to be a 8 strength unit on a future round. Our opponent looks to be putting down his biggest stuff, and that's annoying, but it's not the end of the world. We can go with Scoia'tael. Scoia'tael is going to give 1 strength to every single one of our dwarves in our deck. Yeah. So with Nithral, this is quite clearly a weather-focused deck. I don't think we want to commit to this round and try to win it, because he's essentially just going to frost the front row and start using Nithral to wipe our board clear. So maybe we just want to throw down certain cards that might come back later, like our old geared, and try get more cards out of his hand. We could even take the time to redraw, but I'd rather save that for another time. But yeah, I think we'll throw down all geared here.
Holds no surprises.
6 strength, and he's going to come back as a 4 strength unit in the future round, and then 2 for the final one as well. So we get to have a fair bit of stuff. So we're going to have a 4 strength unit and an 8 strength unit from Regis next round. And he potentially keeps a 10 or a 6. He's going to go with Alzur's Thunder. I'm unsure about that play, mostly because it's coming back anyway. But that's fair enough. We want to diversify our board state a little bit. I know he's going to be going for Frost, so maybe we want to only use the Siege Row cards, because the Mahakam defenders are just going to get removed anyway. We do have Mahakam guards that are immune to Frost, which kind of helps, but I'd rather save it for when we maybe draw into another First Light. So I think what I'm going to do here is just remove some strength from Nithral. So if he does keep it, which is his best card, yeah, at least he's blown that away. That won't be happening again. I really wish we had a Lacerate for this board right now. If we had a Lacerate, it'd be at 22, but we wouldn't be in any sort of form to maintain a victory position. So, question is, because I think we're going to pass here, we're either going to pass or we're going to Adrenaline Rush. So do I really want to Adrenaline Rush any of these units? I don't think so. I could Mahakam Guard and add strength to them, but I could also just do that on a future turn anyway. But I suppose this way he maybe goes for another card. It's a possibility. Whereas if we just pass, he just passes because he might as well. I don't know. I think we're going to pass. So we pass here. He wins the round. He's going first anyway, so we don't have to use our faction ability. We are 1 card up as well, which, having our redraws, is pretty sweet. So it looks like he's trying to use his faction ability and get a little bit more lucky with it. But I don't know if that necessarily helps him. We're going to get Olgierd back and we're going to get Regis High Vampire. Oh, he keeps Nithral. Oh, it's the 1 card I didn't want him to keep. Alright, we keep our guys back. We get our Dwarven Mercenary and another Clear Skies, which is pretty good. He's going first anyway, so we're going to ignore it. Really wish I had removal for that Nithral, because that is going to do some serious work if we don't get it off the board. Especially since... Oh. Becca's Twisted Mirror. That one gives it the... Yeah. Swap the strength of the strongest and weakest units on the battlefield. So he's just traded Regis' strength onto Nithral's, which is really bad. Ugh. We don't have any proper removal for that, unfortunately. We have the Mahakam guards. Is not the Mahakam guards. The Dwarven skirmishers, sorry. They can remove 3 strength, but we'd need a fair few of them. I think I'm just going to put a defender down. See what we can do from here. There's your first frost effect. And, yeah. That's bad. So if he plays another Wild Hunt card, we can say goodbye to our Mahakam defender. This is a really bad matchup. Like, really bad. We're going to have to clear skies. We risk too much by not doing it. He benefits too much as well.
Do you want to tickle me?
Sarah, immune to weather. Gain 3 strength whenever a weather effect appears. Why don't we have removal? Dang it. I guess we're just going to pump up our Mahakam defender. We're probably going to have to use Francesca's ability on this round, because I really need a lacerate for this row. Oh my god. That is brutal. Ooh. So he's at 23, we're at 5. He's keeping one of these guys around no matter what happens. I'm probably going to have to Adrenaline Rush this Mahakam guard. Just because even if we win this round, then we really need the strength going into the final one, and we've just kind of been destroyed up to this point. I think I'm going to use Francesca's ability. I want new cards. Thunderbolt Potion doesn't seem that good anymore. Lacerate's good. Dwarven Mercenary. We don't have enough dwarves for that to be useful. And a Dwarven Skirmisher I like the idea of. Do I want the Commander's Horn? No. Won't do anything for us. Alright, we get another Mahakam guard. So if he doesn't play Weather, then Dwarven Skirmisher is going to take down Sarah. She's going to be too big if he's got Weather in his hand. So there's 3 strength there, and then we're going to wipe the front board as well. We get to wait a little while because I'm sure he's got a lot of melee units to work with. So the longer we wait on that, the more strength that we get to remove from his points. Case in point, the fog's not a problem for us because we don't have anything on the ranged row. But now his Sarah's actually to a 6. And he's at 36. Can we even win? I don't know if we can, in all honesty. I guess I'm just going to Adrenaline Rush the Mahakam guard, see if I can force more cards out of his hand. I mean, it's game over if he's got a Commander's Horn, but I think it's game over anyway, to be perfectly honest. So let's just hedge our bets that he doesn't have one. He's gonna pass. Okay, so we can take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 off of his score, taking him to 26 with the Lacerate. We can then take an extra 3 off of him, taking him down to 23, and then we go up to 13. And then immune to frost, add 5, 13, 18. And a rally could maybe bring back the game here. Okay. So.
Scoia'tael!
Mahakam guard. Dwarven Skirmisher, sorry. Put that there. Mahakam guard on the relentless unit. And then we want to lacerate. In fact, let's rally first, just in case there's something that it might hit. We have to get lucky here. This is the game right here. Ooh. That's the round, boys. And ladies. So we lacerate his front board. We go up to 32. We take the round, and we go into the next round with a 15 strength unit. Oh, he keeps Nithral again. God damn it.
I need to smoke.
And Olgierd comes back with 2 strength. I'm going to make him go first now. He does have card advantage on us, so it's not going to make too much of a difference. If he does have Frost, then we've just lost straight out. And he takes down Olgierd, an extra couple of strength.
Now we must stick together.
So can he make up 10 strength in his last 2 cards? Probably. There's 7. He just needs 3 points in that last card. It's not out of the question it'd be useless, but yeah. It was really close. Really close. If it was a Foglet or something like that, we'd have gotten the game right there. That was a good game, though. Very much enjoyed that. Alright, guys. I'll see you in the next round.
Naivety is a fool's blessing.
My folk have suffered much.
Okay, so we are against Gales. He gets to change the strength of units on a particular row to 6, I believe. So it's probably a breedable deck, and mass removal is going to be really good. We do have a very durable hand, though. Dwarven skirmishers get rid of a lot of the breedable creatures. I don't know if they're going to be that good, though. So I'm going to throw at least one of them away. For a Regis for a future round, that's not too bad. We have 2 Mahakam defenders and no way to pump them at the moment, actually. So maybe throw a Dwarven mercenary. There's a Mahakam guard. So we can bring that into a future round and throw an Adrenaline Rush as well. We're going to ignore it so that potentially we're going to go second. We didn't, though. So let's go Regis first of all.
Particular interest?
It's a nice turn 1 play because our opponent can't really remove it. There are cards that do it, but... So he goes with a Golem. He gets to spawn 2 lesser Golems that I believe have breedable in a future round. Very annoying. Very annoying. Let's go Barclay Elves. Yet again. Whether we win or lose this round, it's a decent play because it's already done its job, essentially. Can call it a 5 strength unit from this point forward.
Don't make me laugh.
And a Siri. Okay, so if he loses the round, then it gets to go back to his hand and he gets a little bit of card advantage that way. Probably won't make too much of a difference because we do have the Mahakam defenders to essentially make up for the fact that he's going to have card advantage. And then we've got Quen signs to make sure that the strength removing effects that he may have don't hurt us. Do I want to go Olgierd here? Or do I want to start putting the defenders down? I think Olgierd, because yet again, even if we throw the round, we're still getting him back. We're getting Olgierd back as a 4 strength unit, and we're getting Regis back as an 8 strength unit as well. So he's going to let us take the round. He potentially just keeps this Golem here. In fact, he will keep the Golem, I believe. Which means he doesn't get the lesser Golems. And Siri goes back to his hand as well. So we're going into this round with 12 strength. And we get another guard. Do we want to force him to play? Do we want to try to take this round? Ooh, I'm going to ignore it. Decided not to use it. If it does go down to a 3rd round, then I want him to be on the play, essentially. But he does have quite the fair amount of card advantage on us, unfortunately. So I'm going to go Mahakam Defender. Okay. So he's got a Necker. While in your hand, gain 1 strength whenever a unit on your side absorbs the strength of another. When removed from the battlefield, you get to play a Necker from your deck. So if we ever remove that, he gets another one. We're not going to be doing that though, because Dwarven Skirmisher, I'd rather it hit something that doesn't die. Let's go Mahakam Guard and stick it on our Adrenaline Rushed unit here. And he goes with Arakas, so he's thinned out his deck a little bit. He's got Arakas all from his deck. We could lacerate them, but I'd rather wait until he uses the breeding effect, and then we get to lacerate the whole thing. Hopefully, anyway. But he does have Gales to set them all to 6, and that can't be overlooked. Ugh, win or lose, though. If he goes all out on this round, then we're in a better position for the third one. I guess I'm going to go Mahakam Defender. Then I'm going to go Quensign to protect them all. Woodland Spirit puts Fog down. That's fine, we have nothing on the ranged row. And he's actually debuffed his Arakas there, but he's made up for it with the Rabid Wolves anyway, that are also breedable. So as you can see, he's got a lot of breedable stuff now, which is proving to be problematic. So, how do we want to tackle this? I think we want to Quensign our defenders. Win or lose, they're staying now. He needs 2 strength removing effects for the defenders to go anywhere. So we've got 17 points on the final round going into it, and he's probably got 6 if he's going to use Gale's ability here. There's your breedable effect. So I'm going to lacerate his front board now, before he can set them all to 6. He does get to grab some more Neckers back, but we've reduced the number that's there quite significantly. And he's used his faction ability, which is pretty sweet. Right, from here, we want to ensure that into the final round, we're in a wonderful spot. And what do we want to do regarding that? So, we'll save the Skirmisher probably for whatever unit he keeps behind. Adrenaline Rush, do we want to Adrenaline Rush anything? Probably the higher Vampire. We'll keep the First Light, because if he does have Frost, it's game over for us. So, we could save this for a future round. He's probably just going to pass anyway. Yeah, I think we're just going to Adrenaline Rush up the Regis Higher Vampire. Keep him around. So we've got 8, 10, 20, 25 coming into the final round. He's keeping one of his Arakas round with an Adrenaline Rush of his own. Okay. So now we could Dwarven Skirmisher it and make it a 3, but we could do that next round anyway. And if that gets picked as his option as well, then it'd be hilarious. So yeah, I think we just pass here. Yeah. We're not actually winning this round, so it's what we can do for the final. What we can also do is now use our faction ability and force him to go first. So he keeps a Necker around. He gets the Lesser Golems and the Arakas as well. Oh, Commander's Horn. Alright, our opponent is going to go first. Normally, well actually they would have gone first anyway, so it doesn't make too much of a difference, but still. Okay. So, what we want to do here is make sure that our front row is as large as possible. He has severe card advantage on us though. So it may not make too much of a difference. These Mahakam guards as well have immunity to frost.
Everything all right?
Pretty good. Just gonna stick it on the large one, I think. I don't want them to tie, just in case.
You talked enough.
Ciri comes down. Okay. Do I want to hit anything on his board now with a skirmish, or do I want to redraw it? I think I just want to redraw. If I get another unit on the front row, then that'll be pretty sweet. Hopefully he doesn't have frost. It looks like he's probably not running weather, because it seems like it'd hurt him more than help him.
My folk have suffered much.
So, let's try redraw the skirmisher into Dwarven Mercenary. It's 4, 6, 8, 10 points. I think that's good enough. First light. Let's throw it back. And a Mahakam Defender. Okay. We're praying he doesn't have any more weather. Goes with a Thunderbolt Potion on his golems. So, Defender on the front row again. $9 points ahead. We're going to be a lot more than that if he doesn't have frost. 30 seconds. It's a Swallow Potion for one of his neckers. Okay. So, we're going to put on our Mercenary. 12 points. It's all down to this Commander's Horn and whether or not he can remove any of the stuff from our front row. If he's got frost, it's just game over. Not much we can do about that. Ah, Scorch. That is why I did not have the other Mahakam Defender tie, by the way, because it would have been 20 points instead of 15. But Commander's Horn, right at the end. We're at 62 points. Can he make up for it? It's 49. $13 points that card has to be. And it's Swallow Potion. That's going to be the game. Whew, that was close. Fab. GG, sir. Alright guys, that is going to do it for the video. So if you did enjoy it, then be sure to leave a like. Helps me out a great deal. If you do have any suggestions for changes to the cards, I obviously don't have all of the cards, so I won't be able to make all of the changes, but it will help anyone who maybe wants to make this deck who might have a different collection as well. So be sure to leave any tips or hints or card changes that you'd make for this deck in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe for some more Gwent content. Hopefully going to try get out a little bit more of it. It's just that I don't have the collection at the moment to put out as much content as I'd like, but I'm getting there. Anyway guys, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have subscribed and have not yet, then be sure to hit the little bell icon right next to the subscription button to notify you when I release new videos. Alright guys, I'll see you in a bit. Goodbye.